Last couple of years we've had some cool wet springs and long prolonged springs with very heavy moisture and warm days, cold nights. And when you get that combination of weather and moisture and humidity, we really start to see a lot of diseases, and those diseases start showing up in the middle of summer. So the last couple of years we've seen powdery mildew just affect all kinds of plants, ornamentals as well as vegetables, but really gets cucumbers and squashes and melons. The powdery mildew has really been problematic the last couple of years, but one of the biggest problems that we very rarely ever see is a disease that's called bacterial spot, and it affects tomatoes, and then we've seen a lot of early and late blight as well too. So got a beautiful tomato plant here. It's just really getting going, just starting to produce some flowers, and what will happen is if this plant gets bacterial spot, the fruit will have little black specks all over it, and it deforms the fruit and causes the fruit to not taste very good, and just pretty much ruins your crop. And really the only way to stop it is to prevent it. And so there's a lot of good fungicides you can use in your garden to prevent a lot of these diseases before they show up and really start to do damage to your plants. So the powdery mildew, it will take out a very large squash or a patch of cucumbers in just a week or two if you don't get it under control. But if you will actively prevent the disease from getting started before it even gets going, you can stop that before it even happens. So there's some very good fungicides that we can use. One of my favorites, this is an all-natural fungicide, and it's actually made from hydrogen peroxide and peroxacetic acid, and the combination is very, very effective on all kinds of diseases and extremely safe to use. You can even use it around ponds because it won't bother fish at all, like most of the other pesticides, whether they're organic or synthetic. They're all very harsh on fish, and so you got to be real careful around ponds. But with this one, it's ready to use. So you just turn the trigger sprayer on, and let me get the right setting there, and just a light spray on the plants. So to prevent the mildew or the bacterial spot or even late blight or early blight on tomatoes or potatoes, just a light spray all over your plant, and you don't have to do it very often. We're only talking probably once every 2 weeks just to prevent those diseases from showing up in the first place. So trigger sprayer like this, very easy to use, especially if you only have a couple plants. If you have a much bigger garden, you got a lot of plants to take care of, you may want to switch to a product like the FStop, which comes in a hose end. It also comes concentrated, so you can use it in your own tank sprayer. But this one, you just hook on the end of the hose and then turn that sprayer on, and you could treat a whole area very easily because it's going to spray out and broadcast that spray. The nice thing about FStop is it's a systemic fungicide, but it's safe to use on fruits and vegetables. So not only can you spray turf and ornamental plants like shrubs, one plant that really gets powdery mildew is a 9-bark. 9-bark are very consistently year after year getting that powdery mildew. You can use this preventatively. It lasts a little bit longer than your traditional spray, so you're going to get 3, maybe even 4 weeks out of it preventatively. And so maybe once a month, once every 3 weeks, to use a product like this to prevent those diseases before they even get started. And so the FStop, very effective, but long lasting, which you just don't have to use it nearly as much, but it'll stop a lot of those diseases before they even get going. If you use a product like Liquid Cop, also another organic product, it's just a basic copper sulfate, and it will stop a lot of diseases, and it's labeled for use on all kinds of vegetables and fruits, and it will work on a lot of those diseases. So the powdery mildew, the bacterial spot, the early and late blight, and a lot of different leaf spots and rusts. This will work on all those diseases. And in a concentrate like this, you'd mix it up and put it in your tank sprayer. So if we're going to use a tablespoon per gallon, this is a 2-gallon sprayer. If we put in 2 tablespoons of our Liquid Cop and then fill it up to the 2-gallon mark with water, it's ready to go. And you can just pressurize your tank sprayer, and you can spray your plants with it. You know, nice and easy way to spray your plants, and it goes a lot farther than just a regular trigger sprayer. It's quite a bit less expensive when you're mixing up your own concentrate, and super easy to do. And we can use it to prevent all those diseases in our garden and in our landscapes before they even get started.